Hello everyone and welcome back to a couple books. This is Books as always, and today we are going to be going into a LitRPG review. But before we get started with this, I would like to remind you guys that you guys need to be in the book raffle if you aren't already. If you guys are unsure what I'm talking about, be sure to check out my previous video. It will be linked down below. It's also my most recently posted one outside of this one, so be sure to check it out. We're doing a book raffle to celebrate passing 150 subscribers. Thank you all so much for getting us here. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are amazing and you guys are so supportive. Thank you for everything. With that being said, I would like to say that this is going to be a spoiler-free review of this LitRPG book, The Crafting of Chess by Kit Falbo. I'm super excited to get into it. So with that, this is going to be spoiler-free, so no worries, no need to turn away from the camera. You guys are safe here with us today. So with that, let's get started. Whoop. So we meet our main character, Nate. Nate is pretty smart. He lives his life moving town to town. Him and his grandfather are both hustlers, meaning that they're kind of always on the shady side of the law. They end up settling into this one place where they kind of have a good thing going. The grandfather is currently raising his grandson because unfortunately Nate, our main character's parents, were both killed in a sad car crash that was devastating, and now they are both living together trying to make ends meet. They do this by the grandfather hustling people in the typical standard Nigerian prince fashion where, oh, you know, get an email saying I need some money, I'll pay you back, those types of things. The things we all know as scams, the grandfather's behind some of those. Then our main character Nate is out there going by the name Jay, and he is hustling people at chess at the local park, trying to, you know, grab 20 here, 20 there, trying to get by. Nate also has this intense fascination with the game store that is nearby his house, and he likes to go there and peruse the games. He also does some hustling over there in terms of collecting card games and those types of things that you would typically see in the more game tabletop RPG world. Bless you. He is insanely good at what he does, and between the both of them, they're able to make ends meet. Of course, Nate is uneasy with what his grandfather does. While he is hustling people at chess, his grandfather is doing some stuff that could get him on the wrong side of the law for sure, without a doubt. And they try and figure out a way for maybe that to not be the case anymore so they can stop moving from town to town. This opportunity falls into our main character's lap, and it is called Fair Quest. It is going to be the new massive virtual reality MMORPG. It's going to be the next big game. It's going to be the next big hit, and our main character Nate sees an opportunity here to make some cash and hopefully get his grandfather out of the hustling game and be able to have them actually settle down for real this time and to not have to always be watching their backs. What is his plan? His plan is to win the game, we presume. The game in this case at Fair Play is to get your companion NPC that you are assigned once you start the game onto the throne. Everyone in this game world is assigned this companion character, and this companion character is just a standard non-player character who is nothing special, and between our players' actions and decisions, they can hopefully achieve the impossible and get their 1 in 1,000 NPC characters onto the throne and get them crowned king, in which case you win a massive cash prize. So he sees an opportunity here. He decides, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to try and get this money, I'm going to try and get me and my grandfather out of this lifestyle and hopefully be able to actually settle down and be a kid for once and stop hustling at chess and get my grandfather out of his shady business deals. This seems like the opportunity that is beckoning him, so he signs up for the game and he starts playing. And the stuff he does in this world is quite epic, it's quite intense. It is not a chess game. For some reason when I picked up this book, I thought it was about chess, and yes, there is chess going on in this game. No one cares. And he sees the opportunity in this game and the potential that it has for him. When I first picked up this book, I thought it was about chess. Obviously, like the cover's a chessboard and it says chess on the top. It's not. The main kid is really good at chess, and he does play chess a few times in the beginning of the book, and he plays it also in the beginning of the story in the game world. But it is not about chess. It is about the idea of what this chess implies. Chess is all about strategy. We see our character, Nate, do his best to win against his opponents in the most strategic way possible. Things I loved about this book: I really enjoyed the story, I really enjoyed the characters, and I really enjoyed the world. Nothing in here was absolutely like mind-bogglingly insane, but it flowed nicely. The story was really good. It was not your standard lit RPG, some character getting overpowered with all the best gear and all the best equipment and going and destroying the big bad at the end of the world. No, this is a much different type of slow burn type of book, where while it's not necessarily a slow burn with it only being 350 pages, the character is in this for the long haul, and he is strategically placing himself and building up his skills in a way that's going to benefit him in the long run. And you can see that throughout the book. He does nothing without some foresight involved. Every single decision he makes, every single action he performs inside the game helps him out in the end to some degree. For the most part, of course, you'd have to read the book to find out exactly what he does and how it helps him out. But he's very strategic in how he thinks, and he tries to think through every decision, whether or not it's going to be good or bad. And of course, you know, with any story, there's consequences and positive ones and negative ones. But overall, our main character is super intelligent with how he plays his hand, and you don't really know every move he's making until it's already too late and the move's already happened, and then you're sitting there looking at the consequences of that move and you're like, I did not see that coming from a mile away. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. The character himself has actual motivation. He's sitting here, he's not just some like rich kid with a gaming set. He is barely making ends meet. He's trying to do this to get his father out of the hustling life. He actually has real motivations to do well at this game and actually excel and win the game. That adds a lot of character growth, a lot of character development. There's a lot of character introspection going on in this book. And at the end of the day, I really liked our main character. I thought he was a nice guy. I really enjoyed reading his perspective. I really liked him. The humor in this book was nothing like insane, but he did give me a few chuckles every now and again. And overall, I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed the plot. And the world building in this was nothing too intense, because there's really not much world building to happen. Because if you guys read the books, you guys will know why there's not much world building to happen. Our main character kind of stays in one region, more or less. And so with that, you see a lot of political intrigue in this book. The political world building in this is pretty amazing. I really enjoyed that part of it. You see a lot of, like, you know, high fantasy politics kind of working their way into this game world, since all of the characters, all the NPCs in this game are AI, and so they all function more or less like how real humans would, and they make decisions like how real humans would, which made the game seem more realistic to the reader. So like, you're reading this and like, there are moments where you feel like you're reading like an actual high fantasy book because of how the NPCs and the storyline is progressing and how the characters are acting. Overall, I have very few complaints about the story. I have very few complaints about the main character. In terms of my critiques though, because there are a few of course, my ending of this book was kind of a struggle for me. I thought it was a bit rushed. It's only 350 pages. It's not a long book in the slightest. It is nothing insane, but the last 50 pages were like super fast. Like, I was like looking and like I realized there was only like 50 pages left, and I did not know how they were going to finish this book. He flew through it. There were like huge massive things happening in the middle, 3/4 through, all the way through, like pretty much from the climax point down. It's just like one after another of all these insane things, of all these decisions that were made early on in the book coming to fruition, and you see a lot of things happening very quickly and very fast. It kind of felt rushed to me to a certain degree. Not that I didn't enjoy the ending at all. I really did enjoy the ending, but it felt very rushed to me, and I would not have minded an additional 50 pages or so to help slow that down a little bit and help you really appreciate what's happening, because it felt like a whirlwind to a certain degree. Outside of that, I did not necessarily enjoy the actual layout of the page in this book. If you guys have ever read LitRPG, then you guys know that in these books there's typical like tables and charts in the fashion of playing an actual game. Like, you see things how you would probably see it in a video game, which helps you kind of see where what is and how things are laid out. And for me, I've just kind of gotten used to that. In this format, everything's written out, which kind of was like a shocker and like made it more difficult to understand it, but it wasn't a huge factor because it wasn't so significant to the story, seeing his levels and that kind of stuff, although I would have enjoyed seeing that. My last and final critique I'm going to say is that I thought that there was a weird thing going on with the narration. He occasionally would switch to another POV of another character, and I did enjoy that to a certain degree, because there are characters in this book outside of our main one, Nate, who's doing interesting things. For example, we have the perspective of one of the game developers back at the home office who is watching some of the things that are going on in the game, that are happening in the game, and it was interesting kind of seeing the internal politics behind the company. But there were other point POVs that I thought were kind of like random. There's one POV, which if you guys read the book, you guys will know what I mean, that I was just like completely like, I do not know why this guy's in this book. I do not know what POV his character's serving. Like, I don't know the purpose of having his POV in the book. He did one thing in the book and all of a sudden there was like 3 chapters with his POV, and I was like a little like taken back by that. But outside of that, I thought it was overall a really solid book. I really have little complaints in terms of who I would recommend this to. Anyone who's looking to get into LitRPG or game lit or is wanting to see what it's about, this is a good book I think to try out. It's got a good enough story that you're not going to be bogged down. The game mechanics in this are really like light. Like, you're not going to be overwhelmed with game mechanics in this book. So if you're a veteran LitRPG reader and you are like really into like the stats and you've got like your calculator while you're reading, might not be the book for you unless you want to try something that's a little more game lit side of everything. For anyone who's not super into fantasy and those types of things, this may not be the book for you to try, because like for me, just personally reading it, I feel like you would probably want like either a fascination in like video games or fascination in fantasy in order to enjoy this book properly. So I would not recommend it to you guys, but overall, I think anyone who's looking to get into this genre, try it out. Anyone who's a veteran of the genre and is just looking for something that's a little more in the game lit side of things, try it out. Anyone who's interested in like a political plot that's like really well thought out, try it out, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this book and I really enjoyed it. I read it in like legit one sitting. I picked it up last night just to like read a chapter, just to like kind of get started with the book, and I ended up finishing it last night. So I really enjoyed it. So with that, those are my final thoughts. Be sure to get yourself in the raffle if you guys are not already in. But with that, I think that's all I have left to say. So I will see you guys soon. This has been Couple, and if you haven't yet, also don't forget to like and comment. Comment, what are your thoughts? Are you guys going to pick up this book? Are you guys not going to pick up this book? Is this kind of interest to you? Have you read it? What are your thoughts on it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And maybe if you feel like it, you can also hit the subscribe button while you're down there. But with all that said, I think that's everything for today. So thank you guys so much for coming, and I will see you guys in the next video.